Super. Hello, everyone. Just check. Yes, I am recording. Super duper. Hope you are all well. Thanks for joining, whether it's live now, brilliant, whether it's live later, because it's still live. So wherever and whenever you are, thank you for joining. There's a couple of bits I want to talk about. As I've finished my degree, my mind seems to have opened up once again. I'm able to read other books. I spoke about David Hawkins last week, and this week I've been reading a different David Hawkins book because I got through the other one quite quickly. Have I got it in here? No, I don't have it in here. So there might be a few more bits, or probably reminders, really, from that where I've forgotten them myself, or I haven't really used them that much. And it's like, oh yeah, that was a really good thing. I should probably talk about that again because I haven't talked about it for a very long time. So over the next couple of weeks, there is likely to be repeats of some David Hawkins, at least esque things to remind you of, or to give slightly new updates on, I suppose. So, first thing, okay, I don't know if girls do this as much as boys. Okay, but certainly I did this as a child, and maybe you did too, but just with different people. As a kid, playing football, whether it's playing it for your team or just a playground at lunchtime, it was quite common that you would call yourself after a great player of the time, whether it was Zidane, whether it was Henri, or whether it was Gaza or Beckham or whoever else. Okay, the ball got passed to you, and you suddenly became David Beckham or whoever it was. Now, oddly, I actually believe that is beneficial. Okay, because if you kind of jump into the character of somebody who is already really good at the thing that you are doing or the thing that you desire to do, you can almost take on an element of that person. You can make decisions in a way that is different to what you would ordinarily do. So if I was Gaza running down the wing, would I take on a player or two and create more space by taking on a player rather than what Pete would do, which is probably run down the wing and hoof the ball in for a cross? Hey, either choice might be right, but would I make a slightly better or different decision if I was acting as if I was somebody else? Now, this is not necessarily a technique I would recommend for doing all the time in daily life, because we want decisions to come from us and we want things to come from us. But is it really you anyway? I suppose, yes, it is. And there's Napoleon Hill, is famous author, famous person from kind of the self-development era, the early self-development era, in kind of the 1930s, 1940s. Wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. I've mentioned it a number of times over the years. One of the techniques within, I believe it's from that book, is he creates a boardroom. So he's thinking about business owners, really, but he creates a boardroom in his mind of great leaders and great thinkers of either the present or the past. I can't remember who he says he has in his boardroom, but let's say maybe it's to update it a little bit. Richard Branson, Elon Musk. Whether you like these people or not is irrelevant. Okay, it's are they right for the situation? And you build out a few other people. What would they do? And you have a conversation in your mind with your board of directors, and you can use this for any aspect of life. So if you're having trouble with children, who do you think or know is a expert in parenting? Who do you think or know is an expert in psychology? Okay, maybe you've a book you've read, maybe it's someone you've seen on Facebook or on the news. They're talking about how to deal with, the certain kinds of problems that you're dealing with in life. Put them in your boardroom. Okay, who is it? Maybe I'm there, maybe I'm not, doesn't matter. I'm okay if I'm in your imagination for this board of directors thing or not. That's absolutely fine. You go, okay, well, what would Pete do? We even do it at work, albeit in a different way. And we haven't talked about the expansion of this. Hey, I work in the science department as a science technician, and we're kind of dog's bodies a little bit for the science teachers. Um, but if you look at the other departments around the other departments around the school don't really have dog's bodies. They have to do it themselves mostly. There might be a few people who have like administrative duties for certain departments, but mostly not. So we have a phrase is what would maths do? Because maths don't have dog's bodies. Okay. When it was particularly when a teacher comes us to ask us to do something that wouldn't ordinarily be our ordinary job. So, well, what would maths do? Okay, basically they don't have dog's bodies. So we tell the teacher, hey, what would maths do? We don't have the time. You've got to sort this out yourself. So if you have this board of directors, you go, okay, well, what would you do? What would you do? And in this situation, what would you do? Okay, what would be your advice? And maybe you've got three, four, five. You can make it as complicated as you like. I wouldn't suggest having more than maybe five or six, but you can have a few people in your mind that you can go and ask, okay, well, what would you do with this? And then one of them might say, oh, I don't know, it's got nothing to do with me. And the other one might say, oh, yeah, you can do this. And, you might, maybe you get two or three different ideas, ones that you wouldn't ordinarily have, okay, or ones you would discount without even thinking about them. And it's just a way of opening up your mind to new ideas and new ways of thinking and going, okay, well, maybe I don't know the answer, but maybe this consciousness of a person, alive or dead, uh, can help me, guide me. So I just thought that was interesting. That cropped up into my mind a couple of, I suppose, about 2 weeks ago now, of of the playing football scenario. Cool. So that's part one. Part two, and part two is probably the main bit I really want to share, really. So I'll start off with a little bit of a story. Yesterday, I went down to Costa, which is my normal studying haunt. I usually go there to read my Open University books for an hour or two. Just it provides me a separation from home and the chores and the stuff that I kind of should be dealing with and haven't yet. The washing up or the whatever. Anyway, I went down there, and someone I went to school with actually works there, and we got chatting because it was a quiet moment, and her kids are 11 and 8, and mine are 8 and 6, and she was saying her older one is away on like a 4-day, 5-day kind of year 6 school trip, and her younger one's at home, and she was like, "Oh, it would be so much easier if it was the other way around," because her younger one is lively, let's say. And I got into saying about Maisie and how lively she can be. And I was having this conversation. And while I was having the conversation, I thought I shouldn't be talking about this because, but I did because it felt relevant. Okay. But as soon as I stopped that conversation, went down and had my tea or coffee or whatever it was, I was like, I just said a load of things that I know I shouldn't have said. Okay. Everything I just said there in that conversation has made that situation potentially worse. I've increased its value in my mind. And I've kind of talked about that. Okay. By having shared experiences with people and kind of having these conversations with people, we increase the value of that topic. So I was increasing the value of having difficulty at home with a child. Albeit last night, after I'd had that conversation and had these thoughts, everything went super smooth. But the night before I'd had that conversation, everything went really badly. I say everything went really badly. It wasn't the most ideal night on Monday, but yesterday was almost perfect. Okay, I couldn't have asked for it really to go much better. So I just wanted to kind of share that story of like when we talk about the things we don't want, they show up. But in this scenario, I was able to recognize that I'd had that conversation and gone, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, whoops. Not beat myself up, not berate myself, not feel guilty about having that conversation, and learn from it and go, okay, well, I don't need to talk about that anymore. And the less I talk about it, the less it will show up in my life, and the less I think about it. Okay, and that leads me on to the kind of the next section. Okay, is all thoughts and words are prayers. Okay, and all prayers are always answered. Okay, if you think about every word, every sentence you say or even think, imagine if they're all answered, every single one of them. And again, this is something I've covered in different ways recently. Is if the universe is always giving you what you want, okay, everything in your life is somehow, some way, is something that you are valuing, and that could be physical, physical aches and pains. It could be emotional. It could be, your challenges, your problems, in whatever area of life. Somehow, through whatever reason, we don't need to know the reason, but for some reason, we've chosen it. Okay. And what shows up in your body and your life is a representation of your dominant thoughts, your dominant feelings. And those are the things that you're thinking about. So it's kind of in a way, your life is a way to evaluate your life. Right? is to evaluate your thoughts. You go, oh, okay, well, that's showing up in my life. I must be placing high value on that. I must be thinking about that a lot. I must be talking about that a lot. Otherwise, it wouldn't be showing up. I must have high emotions about that thing. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. Okay? So it's just reminders to watch your thoughts. Okay. Every now and again, to be able to jump back in and go, oh, okay, or jump away even and go, oh, I'm thinking about that again. I shouldn't have been thinking about that. Never mind. I was. So I'm just going to let that go. And all of the feelings that came up and all of the stories that came up about that thing that I was just thinking, I'm going to just let that go. And I'm just going to focus on something else. Okay. Well, what do I want to focus on? I want to focus on how does it feel with that problem solved? How does my life feel? How does my body feel? How does my health feel? How does my relationship feel if that problem ceased to exist? And that might look like just relief. It might look like, there might be a sigh, there might be a yawn, there might be some kind of physical response, a burp even, possibly a fart. I don't know. Some kind of sign of relaxation from the body. But there'll also be a kind of a clearness of mind. There'll be feelings. There'll be like this. Just notice the feeling. Okay, well, that's what I want. Okay, I want to feel. I don't want to feel stressed and angry and all of those feelings that were coming up when I was talking and thinking about this person, this topic, this situation. And if it's resolved, then how am I going to feel if it's resolved? And then we can start feeling it now, and we can then kind of prime ourselves for change. Okay, because when we change our thinking and feeling, our prayers change. The things that the universe is giving us will change, okay? Because it's always being given. Okay, I'll say it again, the things we think about most are the things that we get most, even if we don't realize that we're thinking about them. And I would say final section, kind of linking more back to the body and kind of health case, um, your own physical body. Your body is passive. So what does that mean? And again, I don't think I've said this. Your body is passive. It means it only does what it's told. It only does what it's told. Okay? So if there's pain, somehow, you don't necessarily need to know why, you've told it to. You've told it to move in a certain way that's caused pain. You told it to behave in a way that's caused pain. It's unconscious. Okay? You haven't obviously intentionally gone out and gone, do you know what? Today, I want to feel incredible amounts of pain. Today, I want to have pain in my hip. Today, I want back pain. Today, I want shoulder pain. You don't obviously go out and say those things. For some reason, they are in your mind. Okay, probably a fear-based thought. Fear about aging. Oh, I'm getting older. That's tightening up. What's going to be tight today? I wonder what's going to hurt in the morning when I go to bed. Oh, I worked out really hard. I did a long run. I played a lot of tennis. I did a lot of exercise. Oh, something's going to hurt. I did a lot of gardening. I wonder what's going to hurt tomorrow morning when I get up. I wonder how I'm going to be able to move. Okay, what if you didn't have those thoughts? What if you recognized, hang on a minute, because when you're gardening, you probably have those thoughts. You feel a little bit of tightness in the back, a bit of muscle ache from working in the garden or exercising, whatever it is, and you have the thought, oh, I wonder how that's going to feel tomorrow. And your job really is to catch that thought. Okay, you're not going to stop it; it's going to come. Okay, but your job is to go, I'm having that thought again, and that's all you need to do. I don't need that thought anymore. You don't need to overwrite it. You don't need to battle in your mind and go, no, no, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am strong. You don't have to do that. Is the main step really is recognizing that you had the thought in the first place and going, okay, I don't need that thought. And you can be very calm and you can be very relaxed about it. And you go, that was an error thought. Okay, the thought about pain, the fearful thought about what's going to happen tomorrow. That was a fearful thought. I don't need to have fearful thoughts. They're unrequired. Okay? And then you can just go about your day. And then another thought will come up, and another, and another, and another. And that way we can make our daily life kind of meditative. Okay, put too many ters in that. Meditative. Okay, our entire day can be one of those. It doesn't necessarily need to be, I need to sit for an hour and go, okay, and just allow my thoughts and watch my thoughts there. We can start monitoring as we go, which is really what's going to help us change. Yes, periods of, I've got a little stress ball there, periods of meditation, I think should be every day. Whether that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 5 hours. 5 hours might be a bit much, but the periods in the day of sitting down and meditating in some way, shape, or form. I've given you many, many forms of meditation over the years. It's up to you really as to what you want to do. Okay. One that I'm really liking at the moment. So one I mentioned last week. Okay, so just literally closing your eyes and focusing on what do I see with my eyes closed. Okay, so focusing on vision, and that was from David Hawkins. And within the book, he was like, well, this is the most direct form of meditation. Okay, there's no need for affirmations and no need for breathing exercises, and there's no need for feeling. There's no need for going through emotions. There's no need for talking to yourself and going through all that stuff. You just focus on vision, okay? And you'll see light spots and dark spots, and icy swirls and patterns, and sometimes flashes of light and things. Okay, so you will see stuff even with your eyes closed. Okay, and we kind of know that because if you're out on a sunny day and you close your eyes, you still know it's daytime. You still know it's light and bright outside. Okay, and if you turn towards a shadow, like let's say you're near a tree, you kind of with your eyes closed and you're facing towards the sun, no shade, and then you turn and face towards a tree and there is shade, you will notice a change in light and dark through your eyelids. Okay, vision is still working even with your eyes closed. So it just increases kind of strength of vision, okay, and inner vision. Okay, kind of literally and metaphorically. So there's that. And then feeling as if you've already got the job done, feel as if the problem is already solved. You could feel as if you're in the body of somebody else, like Gaza or David Beckham, like I mentioned at the start, okay, or the famous person who is really good at solving the type of problem you have. Okay, whether that again, money, kids, relationship, whatever. Okay, you could imagine they're in your boardroom or you're in their body. Okay, what would they do? Okay, I'm in their body right now. What would they do? Okay, and this is an experiment you can try now before we go into treatment. I'm pretty flexible. Um, so what you can do now, okay, is as long as you've got a bit of space, stand up, reach down for the floor, as you, okay. So whoever's watching this, as Matilde, as Sarah, as Wendy, as Delva, and everyone else who's here, reach down and touch the ground, okay, or reach down for the floor, okay, a normal kind of hamstring stretch, and just see where you're at. Okay, and then stand back up. And then now imagine you're me. Okay, and I can reach down and touch the ground without a warm up and pretty much get my hands flat against the floor. So just imagine you're me for a moment and then reach down and touch the floor now. Okay, or reach down for the floor, I should say. Okay. And just see how it changes. Did you get more flexible? Just by imagining you were into my body, which is pretty supple. Okay, I'm not like a gymnast suppleness because I haven't imagined myself as a gymnast very often at all. But perhaps if I did, I could get more flexibility and more strength by doing that. Yeah, maybe that's one for next week. Yeah. So hopefully that went well. So in just a minute, I'm going to go onto recording. And again, a new computer, so new ways of setting things up. I'm just going to be on a different screen for a moment. Ah, perfect. Easy. Easy. New computer makes things easy. So if you haven't sat back down after checking that out, please do that. Or if you're going to lie down, lie down. But sitting is fine. And we are going to move on to the treatment side of things, the meditation side of things. So let me hit record up there as well. Hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. But the video will be here if the audio doesn't work. But hopefully it does. Super duper. So if you haven't already, please find yourself somewhere to sit or lie down, get yourself comfortable, nice and relaxed. And close your eyes. Who do you imagine is a great meditator? Maybe you know of a monk, someone who's written books, someone you've met, yeah, possibly me, possibly someone else, possibly a historical person. Use them, use their essence, their consciousness, jump into that. How does meditation feel for them? What do they go through when they meditate? Don't think too deeply about that. Just We're going for the experience. Just diving into somebody else's mind. Someone who is already a master at doing what you're currently doing. By jumping into a master's mind, you can accelerate your own progress, your own skill level. Often it's only the fear or the doubt that prevents us from being able to do almost anything. So just borrow some of the skill from whoever you're with right now in your mind, whoever you've jumped to, and use it. Can you feel what it's like in their body? Can you notice the stillness of their mind? Can you notice the peace or the happiness or the joy or some other such feeling that they're experiencing? What does their physical body feel like? How does it move if you were to move it? Someone who is a master meditator and enlightened teacher would not have physical restraints in their joints and muscles. They would rarely, if ever, feel physically tired, because to them, the body is passive. Okay, it's doing what it's told. It's doing what we have instructed it to do. Albeit these are our unconscious instructions. We don't know we don't know that we're giving them. So just recognize, okay, I've given my body these instructions. And just as I have given those instructions, I can ungive those instructions. I can take them back. It can be as simple as that. Okay, I've given these instructions for some reason. I was led to believe that it was true that as I age, my muscles get tighter and shorter and my bones get weaker and hormones do hormone things. They go up and down and cause all kinds of havoc. And it's okay. It's not my fault that these things have been believed. So many people believe them. Parents believe them. Friends believe them. The vast majority of the world believe them. So there's no need to beat ourselves up about having beliefs that make us sick or injured, or otherwise not in a full state of health. It's just being able to recognize them for what they are. Faith in an untruth. We can will to take away our faith from an untruth. Just like the body is passive, nothing can overpower your will. I don't know if that made sense, but whatever, I said it now. Nothing can overpower your will. Again, if we come back to the passive body, if there's, again, pain and suffering, illness, disease, struggle, tight muscles, and all those other things that there might be, for some reason that has been your will for that to happen. Because of fear, because of grief, because of sadness. And a million other reasons, known and unknown. Okay, we can will to give them up. Okay, I will to give up all of my false beliefs about aging, bone density, tight muscles, hormones. I will to give up all of those stories. I will to give up talking about all of those things. And if I do fall back into talking about them, I will to notice that chatter, and I'm able to stop. I will to see life truly. Just because we've moved away from it a little while, I would like you to jump back to your master meditator. Okay, whoever that may be. An enlightened person, okay, or someone you perceive as that way. Okay, this person, whoever it is actually no better than you. All they've done is opened the door and walked through it. It's the only difference. Okay, and everyone is capable of opening the same door and walking through. Okay, ask your person that you've jumped into, how easy is it to open the door and walk through. And what do they say? You can also ask them, what do you need to do? What is the steps to take? Okay, or step to take. And there will be only one or maybe two. Ask them to show you how it feels, kind of physically, emotionally, to be as they are. Just feel your body changing. Notice the looseness, the calmness, the slowness of your heartbeat. The increased energy tingling through your skin. Notice how any areas of heaviness feel lighter. Feel the electric currents running through your body, rebuilding and repairing anything that somehow we damaged. But your consciousness is in control of your body. If you believe you can make it change, you can. The evidence may or may not be immediate. Depends what you're looking at. Flexibility, pain can be fairly immediate. Other things may still take some time. Have an inner knowing that your body is repairing fully, completely, not just a little bit, not just partially. Now feel what it feels like to be in a body that's completely healed. Bones are strong, joints are mobile, smooth, free running. Muscles are loose or the right amount of tension. Tendons are again at the right amount of tension. Fascia is hydrated and soft. Digestion runs smoothly. Breathing and the cardiovascular system are relaxed. Your body feels so good you can barely feel it. So imagine being in the perfect body with everything that you ever wanted for it has already come to pass. So it's the right weight, the right shape, the right level of fitness, the right everything. And this isn't some distant point down in the future. It's not 5 years or 10 years away. It's not achieved through endless hours in the gym, changing diets, although those things to some extent may be required. But it's done quickly, with ease and fun, doing simple things. Continue what it feels like to have absolutely everything you could ever want for your health, as if it's here right now, plucked off the shelf at Tesco's, box called Everything You Ever Want, and it's free. Just breathe. Notice how it's all feeling to be in this everything you've ever wanted body. And if you can't, you might be struggling to go, okay, I have no idea what that feels like. I can't even get close to what that would feel like. Even if it's 5% better than what you've got now, that will give you the clue. That will give you the encouragement to keep feeling that way, to keep trying to feel that way, to keep coming back to meditations and going, do you know what? I can go a little bit further today. I can make my body feel better. And you just start stripping away the layers of lies, illusions that we have unfortunately self created. And feel better and better and better. If we're thinking about just the body at the moment and health, imagine somebody saying to you, a close friend, a family member, even a stranger, it's okay, it could be anyone. Imagine them saying to you, wow, you look amazing. And you say back to them, yeah, thank you. I feel amazing too. This is the best I've ever felt. And then they say, oh, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And that's it. How does that make you feel? What if you could have just that short conversation in your mind a couple of times over, a couple of times a day, and just feel as if that's true? And then the body will start to match what the mind believes. So by practicing that in your mind, creating the feeling, that's you planting the seed of belief in that being a reality. And as you go back to it, day after day, time after time, you're watering and fertilizing that seed. You're pulling out the weeds that are growing up around it. Okay, we can't just plant the seed and leave it in the soil and hope for the best. We need to tend the garden, make sure the weeds don't come back in, make sure the seed actually grows and has what it needs. And after a little while, you'll have a sapling, a small plant, growing and growing, turning into whatever kind of plant that you think your seed is. Sunflower was in my mind. Let's just imagine that conversation a number of times. Feel what it feels like to say those words or something similar. It doesn't have to be exact. And feel what it feels like to hear those words. You look great. What have you been doing? Keep doing it. You look amazing. I feel amazing too. It's the best I've ever felt. I feel better than I did when I was in my 20s. Fitter, healthier, and stronger than I've ever been before. Okay. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the unreal world.